Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. People don't just fall in love with you because you're cute. That's temporary, that's surface. See, the truth is, people fall in love with you for just two real reasons. What you do for their soul and how you make them feel about themselves. See, people get it twisted. Everybody out here is focused on how they look, what kind of shoes they got on, and how their hair's laid, how many followers they got. But let me tell you something straight up. Looks will only get you in the door. They won't keep you in the room. People fall in love with you not because of what they see, but because of what they feel when they're around you. And that feeling, it ain't coming from your outfit. It's coming from your spirit. You can be the finest thing walking, but if your energy is negative, if you're selfish, if you can't bring peace into someone's life, then baby, you're just decoration. That's it. You're like a picture on the wall. Nice to look at, but nobody's sitting with you when life gets heavy. Nobody's holding onto a painting when their world is falling apart. People don't remember what kind of car you drove when they met you. They don't remember what you wore on your first date 5 years from now. But they do remember how you made them feel in that moment. Did you make them feel safe? Did they laugh when they hadn't smiled in days? Did their soul rest when they were with you? That's the stuff that lasts. That's what love clings to. So when I say people fall in love with you for soul reasons, I mean that. Your kindness, your compassion, your integrity, those are the things that speak louder than any beauty or body ever could. The world is full of attractive people, but very few can look you in the eyes and make you feel understood. Very few can sit in your silence and still make you feel heard. That's soul-level stuff right there. See, I know some people who ain't got a six-pack, ain't got the latest fashion, don't post selfies all day, but they are surrounded by love. You know why? Because when people come around them, they feel peace. They feel like they can be themselves without judgment. That's rare. And when you find someone like that, you don't let them go. That's the kind of person you fall in love with and stay in love with, because they've got something that can't be bought, can't be faked, and sure as hell can't be replaced. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing bad about taking care of yourself, dressing well, or looking your best. But if that's all you bring to the table, if that's the only thing you're offering, eventually someone's going to want more. People are searching for depth. We're all walking around trying to find something real in a world full of filters and pretense. And when someone meets the real you, when you're honest, vulnerable, sincere, that's when they fall in love. Let me tell you something else. You don't have to be perfect to be lovable. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be authentic. People can feel real. They're drawn to it like a magnet. They're tired of the fake, tired of the performance. What they want is someone who shows up, tells the truth, and loves from a genuine place. Sometimes you'll look around and wonder why certain people seem to be surrounded by so much love even though they don't fit society's ideal image. But it's because they've figured it out. They know that real love has little to do with appearance and everything to do with how you show up for others. They pour into people. They listen without always having the answers. They're present. And that presence is powerful. Now listen closely. If you're out here chasing love, stop trying to impress people. Start trying to connect with them. Don't lead with your resume or your looks. Lead with your heart. Be someone who is interested instead of just interesting. Ask people how they're doing and mean it. Listen to their stories. Celebrate their wins. Stand by them in their struggles. That's how you make a lasting impact. That's how love starts, at the soul level. What I'm trying to tell you is this. If you want real love, don't worry about being perfect. Worry about being real. Don't stress about being seen. Focus on being felt. Because when someone looks at you and sees a safe place, when they feel a warmth in your presence that they can't explain, that's when they fall in love. And that kind of love, it ain't ordinary. It don't fade when times get hard. It sticks. It stays. It grows. So yeah, People fall in love with you for two reasons. But the first and most important is what you do for their soul. That's what keeps them coming back. That's what makes them say, I found something I never want to lose. You know, there's something powerful I've learned through life, relationships, and all the ups and downs in between. People don't fall in love with you just because you've got a big smile or a smooth voice. Nah, that's surface stuff. That ain't real. What people fall in love with, what makes them stay, is how you make them feel about themselves when they're around you. Let me tell you something. We live in a world that's constantly tearing people down, telling them they ain't good enough, that there's too much of this or not enough of that. Social media out here comparing everybody, work beating folks down. Sometimes even family makes you feel small. So when someone finally comes into your life and makes you feel seen, valued, and appreciated for who you truly are, that's life-changing. That's when love shows up. It's not about flattery. Anybody can throw compliments around. I'm talking about that deep emotional connection. That moment when someone makes you feel like you're enough just as you are. When they make you feel proud of your journey, proud of your scars, proud of your growth. That feeling, that's rare. And when people find it, they don't ever forget it. You can be the kind of person who speaks life into someone, who makes them feel beautiful when they've been doubting themselves, who brings light into their dark days. You've got something priceless. People will love you because you remind them that they matter. You remind them of their strength, their potential, their greatness. And you do it not by fixing them, but just by believing in them when they can't believe in themselves. Let me tell you something personal. There were moments in my life when I was down, down bad. No money, no confidence, no direction. And you know what stayed with me the most? Not the people who offered advice, not the folks who pointed out where I went wrong. No, the ones I remember, the ones I cherish, are the people who lifted me up just by how they talked to me. They didn't talk down, they didn't criticize. They reminded me of who I was before I got lost. That's what love does. That's what you can do for somebody else, because when you love someone, you don't just hold their hand. You hold up a mirror and show them their light. You say, hey, I see you. I see the greatness in you. I see the fighter, the dreamer, the lover, the survivor. And I love that about you. That right there, that's where the bond begins. Let me be real with you. Sometimes people aren't looking for someone perfect. They're looking for someone who makes them feel like they don't have to be perfect either. Someone who doesn't judge them, who doesn't make them feel less than. They're looking for someone who lets them breathe, who lets them be vulnerable, who gives them room to grow. You want someone to fall in love with you? Be the reason they smile at themselves in the mirror again. Be the one who reminds them they're worthy, even when they've forgotten it themselves. Be their peace in a world that's full of pressure and noise. Love ain't about what you give to a person. It's about what you awaken in them. And here's the part most people miss. How you treat people when they're at their lowest, that's when love is truly tested. Anybody can love you when you're shining, but if you can make someone feel confident even when they're struggling, if you can lift them without making them feel broken, that's real love. That's soul deep. So ask yourself this. When people leave your presence, do they feel bigger or smaller? Do they feel empowered or drained? Because how you make others feel is a reflection of your spirit too. And if you want love to last, if you want connection that don't fade away, you got to be intentional about building people up. Don't just be charming, be encouraging. Don't just compliment the surface, affirm the soul. Don't just listen to respond, listen to understand. Make people feel like they can be their full self around you. No masks, no filters, no performance. And when they feel safe being themselves, they fall in love, not just with you, but with how they feel when they're with you. You ever been around somebody who just made you feel good about you? Like you didn't have to explain yourself, like they saw the best in you even when you were at your worst. That's unforgettable. That's the kind of person you hold on to. That's the kind of person you love. So if you want to be loved deeply, start by helping others love themselves a little more when they're around you. Let your words heal, not hurt. Let your presence uplift, not overwhelm. Make people feel like they're enough and they'll love you for it. Not because of what you have, but because of what you give without even trying. A better version of themselves. Let me tell you something that a lot of people don't realize until they've lived a little. People are walking around broken, smiling, suited up, driving fancy cars. Yeah, they look good on the outside, but inside, some of them are tired. Some of them are wounded. They've been hurt, lied to, betrayed, abandoned. Life done knocked the wind out of them more times than they can count. And what they really want, what their soul is searching for, is healing. See, love isn't just romance and roses. It's not just dates and texts and pretty words. Real love is healing. It's the kind of love that says, you don't have to carry all that weight by yourself anymore. I see your pain, and I'm not running from it. That kind of love, that's where transformation begins. That's where people fall hard, because finally they feel safe. When you bring peace into someone's life, when your presence feels like a deep breath after a storm, people don't forget that. They hold on to it. That's when love becomes real, because it grows out of relief, out of feeling understood, out of feeling like, man, I didn't even know how heavy I was until you helped me breathe again. Let me break it down for you. Think about a person who's been through heartbreak after heartbreak. They've been cheated on, lied to, gaslighted, left on read. You think they're just waiting on someone cute to walk in and say the right pickup line? No. What they're waiting on is peace. Someone who doesn't trigger their anxiety. Someone who doesn't make them guess what's going on. Someone who keeps their word, who's consistent, who shows up and stays. When you can be that person, the calm after the storm, you become unforgettable. That's not just a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a partner. That's a healer. That's someone who turns pain into purpose just by loving right. And you don't need a degree in psychology to do that. You just need to care. You need to listen, pay attention, and love them where they are, not where you wish they were. It's easy to love people when they're healed, when they're happy, when they're whole, but can you love them when they're in pieces? Can you be patient when they're scared to trust again? Can you love them with no pressure, just presence? Because that's what healing love looks like. It's gentle, it's kind, it's steady. And when you bring that kind of energy into someone's life, they fall, not because you're perfect, but because you make them feel safe enough to grow. I've seen people fall in love, not because someone gave them gifts, but because someone gave them peace of mind. They didn't feel like they had to be on guard. They didn't have to fake a smile. They could exhale. They could rest. And that feeling, that's worth more than anything money can buy. And look, healing doesn't mean you fix people. That ain't your job. People ain't projects. But love can be the space where people repair themselves. Your support, your encouragement, your presence, that becomes a cushion, a comfort zone, a safe space to come back to after life knocks them around. Think about it like this. Everybody's carrying a backpack full of pain. Some carry childhood trauma, some carry losses, regrets, disappointments. But when they meet someone who helps them unpack it, slowly, gently, they feel lighter. They start to feel hope again. That's where love sneaks in. Not loud, not dramatic, just quietly, steadily. Love arrives through healing. Now, let me talk to you from experience. I've met people who didn't trust a soul, closed off, guard up. But after months of just being consistent, listening, not rushing them, not judging them, they started to open up. They started to believe that maybe, just maybe, love could be different this time. That's powerful. That's healing. You want to be loved? Be the peace someone's been praying for. Be the joy that breaks through their pain. Be the kind of presence that doesn't just impress but soothes. Because when you love like that, people don't want to let go. They say, I don't know what it is, but when I'm with you, I feel whole. That's it right there. That's the kind of love people spend their whole lives searching for. And guess what? You don't need to have all the answers. You don't have to have a perfect life or be healed yourself. You just have to be intentional. Be kind on purpose. Be soft in a hard world. Ask people how they are and mean it. Hug a little longer. Say, I'm proud of you more often. Celebrate their growth, even when it's slow. That's how healing starts. That's how love begins. And I promise you, when you love like that, when your presence becomes a source of peace and joy, people will fall in love with you in ways they can't even explain. Not because of your looks, not because of what you have, but because of what you give without asking. Healing, comfort, peace. That's the kind of love that don't wear off. That's the kind of love that leaves a mark on the soul. Let me tell you something that took me years to understand. You can't expect anybody to love you right until you start loving yourself right. See, people treat you the way you treat you. They take notes from you on how to show up, how to talk to you, how to value you. So if you keep accepting less, if you keep doubting your worth, if you keep giving people permission to walk all over you, don't be surprised when they do. But when you love yourself, when you really, truly honor yourself, oh man, that changes everything. That sets the tone. That's when the game shifts. Let me break it down. Self-love isn't arrogance. It ain't about thinking you're better than anybody else. Self-love is about saying, I know what I deserve. I know what I bring to the table, and I refuse to sit where I'm not respected. When you carry that kind of energy, people feel it. It radiates. It speaks before you even open your mouth. See, people think love is about finding the right person, but real love, it's about becoming the right person first. Because when you're whole on your own, when your peace ain't dependent on somebody else's validation, you stop chasing the wrong things. You stop begging for love and you start attracting it. You ever notice how people who are secure in themselves just walk different? They ain't trying too hard. They ain't desperate. They ain't adjusting themselves just to be liked. And yet, people are drawn to them. That's the power of self-love. It's magnetic. Because confidence, peace, and standards, that's attractive. That's real. But let me be real with you. If you don't love yourself, you will settle. You'll tolerate relationships that drain you. You'll say yes when you should say no. You'll stay places where your soul is screaming to leave. But when you love yourself, you learn how to walk away. You learn that loneliness is better than disrespect. You learn that peace is more valuable than being chosen by the wrong one. And the wild part, once you get to that place where you're solid with yourself, you'll start losing some people. Yeah, that's it. You'll outgrow folks who were comfortable with the old, insecure, self-doubting version of you. But that's all right. Let them go. Because the more you love yourself, the more you protect yourself. You start choosing peace over chaos, real over fake, love over attention. And guess what? That clears the way for real love to find you. Real love doesn't come when you're chasing it. It comes when you're living it. With yourself first. When you start treating yourself with kindness, with respect, with patience, people around you start to follow suit. Or they fall away. And either way you win. You know how many people stay in bad relationships just because they don't think they can do better? Just because they don't believe they deserve more? That ain't love. That's fear. And fear will have you holding on to what's hurting you. But self-love will have you walking out the door with your head high, saying, I love me too much to stay in this mess. Now, I know some of y'all might be thinking, Steve, that's easier said than done. I've been through stuff. I've made mistakes. I don't even know if I like myself. Let me tell you something. You don't have to be perfect to love yourself. Matter of fact, loving yourself in spite of your flaws is where the healing begins. It's saying, yeah, I messed up. Yeah, I got some baggage, but I'm still worthy. I'm still growing. I'm still deserving of the kind of love that doesn't make me question my value. You got to start speaking to yourself differently. Some of y'all talk to yourselves worse than you talk to a stranger. That's got to stop. Your inner voice sets the tone for your outer life. So start feeding your spirit. Start hyping yourself up the same way you do for your friends. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am enough. I am not hard to love. I am growing and I am glowing. Because when you start loving yourself, really loving yourself, you become a better lover, a better friend, a better everything. You stop pouring from an empty cup. You stop expecting others to complete you because you already feel whole. And guess what? That's the version of you that real love recognizes. That's when the right one comes along, not to fix you, but to add to what you've already built. I've seen it happen. I've lived it. You might have to walk alone for a season. You might cry some nights. You might feel like nobody sees you. But if you keep choosing you, if you keep loving you, if you keep setting those boundaries and standing in your worth, love will find you. The right kind, the deep kind, the kind that matches the love you've already given yourself. So don't wait on someone else to treat you right. Start with you, because once you love you right, you teach the world how to do the same.